All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry, it's been a while. Had a lot of stuff going on the last week or so. Just you know, quick shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace to him. God bless him and his family. Tough loss. Um, for That's just it's sad, man. Got shot outside his store. That's just goes to show tomorrow's not promised, man. Um, but yeah, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Um, I know it definitely hurt you know, not just the entertainment world and the music world and, um, athletic world, especially basketball. Um, it was a shot to the black community, man. So rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. Um, Back to the news next. A lot of stuff going on the last couple of weeks or the last week or so. Shakur Stevenson got in a little bit of trouble. Although I think this happened months ago, but a tape just got released about Shakur Stevenson and maybe a buddy of his in Miami got into a fisticuffs fight with some random people in Miami. I don't know if that's going to affect his next fight that's coming up pretty soon versus Christopher Diaz, who I think is coming down in weight. I think Shakur is at 126. Um, it's not a bad fight. Shakur, he's from New Jersey like me, silver medalist. Um, Bob Arum was talking about he tried to talk to James Prince, his manager, about kind of talking some sense into Shakur not fighting Christopher Diaz, former title challenger. Um, but James Prince said, "Nah, let him go for it. If he feels like he's ready, let him do it." You know, um, that's how I feel about most fighters, really. If you feel like you're ready for the next step up or a challenge, go for it. You're a grown man. It's your career. I think Christopher Diaz is a solid fighter, but he might come in pretty weight drained. I told you guys before, I'm not a fan of fighters, hopping up or down in weight classes. Especially Diaz, who's coming off a loss. Um, we saw what happened to Chad Dawson when he dropped in weight. We saw what happened to Oscar De La Hoya when he dropped, I think it was two weight class, or at least one weight class to fight Pacquiao. Chavez Jr., he was weight trained when he fought Canelo, so typically it doesn't work out for you, you know. Um, if I was Shakur Stevenson, I would, go to Christopher Diaz's body religiously, um, make him feel that weight drop. So even if Diaz rehydrates to like 142 or 144 or whatever, if I'm Shakur, I would go to the body, body. I would go to the body, channel your inner Earl Spence or his idol Andre Ward and tax Diaz's body. Um, I've told you guys before. I think Bob Arum, Top Rank. I think they're great at matchmaking in terms of building up prospects, but I don't believe Bob Arum believes in the African American fighters. He doesn't believe we have a strong market, even though you could argue every other black or every other YouTube channel that covers boxing is African American. Almost all of them are pretty much. At least well-known established channels that are doing pretty well. Most of them are African American, or they'll have African American in it to some degree. So, um, he wasn't saying that when Lomachenko in his second fight as a pro fought, Orlando Salido. You know, he swears up and down Lomachenko's the next Muhammad Ali, even though just out the ring and even in the ring, Lomachenko hasn't done what Ali's done. Even though I like Lomachenko, I think he's a good fighter. Um, I think he's fighting next week, next Friday, against Anthony Corolla, former I think he was the former WBA lightweight champion. So, and I think he's on a win streak. I think he beat Dodd Jordan, who's I think he's from Indonesia. Dodd Jordan, solid fighter, kind of a pressure fighter. I think he beat him. I think he beat Ricky Burns. Well, everyone beats Ricky Burns, but so he's had a couple of bounce back fights since he lost to Linares twice. Um, Carl is not, anything special. He's not a bum. He's a former champ. So I think he's like 32, 33. So he's at the end of his prime. Not a bad boxer. He's alright. It's not a huge fight. I think it's in the Staples Center for Lomachenko Krola, and it's on ESPN, but it might be on ESPN Plus. I'm not sure. Um, it's an okay fight. It's a title defense. Like I said, Krola's not a bum. He's not a world beater, but he's not a bum either. He's just he's alright. I think Lomachenko probably gets a late stoppage or easy decision win somewhere. Yeah, I'll say either a late stoppage or a comfortable unanimous decision. I don't think Kroll really has much for Lomachenko. I rate Jorge Linares and Jose Pedraza much higher than Anthony Crolla, especially since not that triangle theory is always working boxing, but Crolla lost to Linares twice, and he's had a couple other losses throughout his career. Not that a bunch of losses make you a bum, especially if you fought good competition. So, hopefully Shakur doesn't get in too much trouble. I saw a little bit of the photos of the people he got in a fisticuff with, and that dude looked beat up. You gotta be careful who you talk trash to. You don't know if they're an MMA fighter or just crazy or fighter or whatever the issue is. So, don't start none, won't be none. I don't know what's gonna happen with Shakur. He so far not, he hasn't had any legal troubles. He's not in jail yet or anything like that. So, we gotta see what happens with that. Lomachenko, Krolla, that's next week, Staples Center. I think it's on regular ESPN, but it might be ESPN Plus, and it's next Friday, April 12th. It's a solid fight, not great, but it's a cool, stay busy fight. I know they've been talking about Teofimo Lopez getting a Lomachenko fight, even though I think Lopez has the style and the physical attributes to beat Lomachenko. I think he's experience-wise not ready yet. Lopez hasn't fought an able body, hasn't fought a, former title challenger or even just a general lightweight contender. So I think, he's still got to build up. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think about, Shakur Stevenson and his situation. Let me know what you guys think about Lomachenko versus Krolla. How do you think it's going to go down? Drop a comment, like, subscribe, and I'm out.